up there because there wasn't anything else going on. And that's when I got to really, be with him. He'd set up a little chair in my room and a TV and be in my room a lot.
Years after Lisa Marie Presley's death, her children finally opened her sealed private vault, expecting valuables but finding something far more shocking and emotional. Inside were letters and a truth she never shared with the world. Every page changed what they thought they knew about her life. But what secret did she protect for so long? Stay with us. The Vault Years. After the passing of Lisa Marie Presley, a quiet and emotional day finally arrived for her children. It was a day they had avoided for a long time because they knew it would not be easy. Grief still lingered in their hearts, even as the months continued to pass. Some memories had become softer with time, while others remained as painful as ever. Yet there was one responsibility waiting for them that could no longer be delayed. For years, family members had known about a private vault that Lisa carefully protected. It was not something she spoke about often, but when she did, her instructions were clear. She wanted its contents left untouched until the right moment. Nobody knew exactly what she meant by that. The mystery only grew larger after her death. The gathering was small and deeply personal. There were no cameras documenting the moment and no reporters searching for details. This was not about publicity or fame. It was about family and the memories of a woman they loved. Everyone who entered carried a different mix of emotions. Some arrived feeling nervous about what they might discover. Others were curious about what Lisa had chosen to hide away for so many years. A few worried that whatever waited inside could bring back painful memories. The closer they came to opening the vault, the stronger those feelings became. Nobody knew whether they were about to find comfort or heartbreak. The secured room felt strangely quiet. Even simple sounds seemed louder than usual. The air carried a sense of anticipation that was impossible to ignore. Every person present understood they were standing at the edge of something important. Whatever Lisa had left behind mattered enough for her to protect it for years. The vault itself looked simple from the outside. It was not covered in decorations or signs of wealth. Still, there was something powerful about its presence. It stood there silently, holding secrets that nobody had been allowed to see. The longer they looked at it, the more mysterious it seemed. For a few moments, nobody moved. The heavy door felt almost intimidating. It represented years of unanswered questions and hidden memories. Opening it would change everything. Once the door was unlocked, there would be no turning back. Eventually, old keys were brought forward. Instructions that had been stored away were carefully reviewed. There were security steps that needed to be followed before anything could happen. The process took longer than expected, making the tension grow with every passing minute. The wait felt endless. While they worked, people quietly wondered what might be inside. Some believed they would find valuable jewelry. Others expected important legal documents or family treasures connected to the Presley name. A few imagined rare photographs and precious heirlooms passed down through generations. Every possibility seemed reasonable. As the final step approached, the room became completely silent. Nobody wanted to speak and break the moment. The sound of the security system releasing echoed softly through the room. Hearts began to race. The vault was finally ready to open. The heavy door moved slowly. Everyone watched carefully as the opening grew wider. Years of mystery were disappearing right before their eyes. They expected their first glimpse to reveal something extraordinary. Instead, what they saw left them confused. There were no stacks of money waiting inside. There were no treasures shining under the lights. There were no expensive valuables arranged on shelves. The discovery was completely different from what anyone expected. At first, nobody knew what to think. The room was filled with dozens of neatly organized boxes. They sat quietly in rows as though they had been waiting for this day. The sight was almost disappointing for a brief moment. Then curiosity quickly took over. Why would Lisa protect ordinary boxes so carefully? The family stepped closer to examine them. One by one, they noticed labels attached to every box. The handwriting looked familiar immediately. It belonged to Lisa herself. Seeing her writing again created an emotional silence throughout the room. Every label had been written with care. Nothing appeared rushed or random. It was clear that Lisa had spent a great deal of time preparing everything. The boxes seemed to follow a purpose known only to her. Suddenly, they felt far more important than any treasure could have been. As family members continued looking through the collection, one box immediately stood out from the others. It appeared simple, yet everyone was drawn toward it. The message written on it was addressed directly to her children. The words suggested that the contents had been saved for a special moment. That moment had finally arrived. Nobody spoke as the box was carefully lifted and placed on a table. The atmosphere felt heavier than before. Every movement seemed important, Every second felt longer. It was as if Lisa herself had prepared this exact moment years earlier. The lid was opened slowly and carefully. Inside were several papers and envelopes arranged with great care. Then something unexpected happened. A thick envelope slipped from the box and landed gently on the table. Everyone immediately focused on it. The envelope looked older than the others. It seemed as though it had been placed there long ago and protected ever since. The writing on the front instantly captured everyone's attention. As they read the message, the room fell silent. The words suggested that Lisa had carried a story she never revealed during her lifetime. It was something deeply personal, something she had chosen to keep hidden until now. Suddenly, the vault itself no longer felt like a mystery. The real mystery was the story waiting inside that envelope. As her children stared at it, a realization slowly settled over the room. Opening the vault had not provided answers. Instead, it had created even bigger questions, and somewhere inside that sealed envelope, the truth was waiting to be told. The letters no one knew existed. The room remained silent as Lisa Marie Presley's children stared at the envelope resting on the table. Moments earlier, they had expected answers. Instead, they had found an even greater mystery. The envelope seemed ordinary from the outside, yet everyone felt its importance immediately. Whatever was inside had been protected for years. Now, for the first time, it was ready to be opened. Carefully, they unfolded the papers inside. What they discovered was completely unexpected. The envelope contained the first of many personal letters written by Lisa herself. The pages were neatly organized and preserved with great care. As they continued searching through the box, they realized there were far more letters waiting. Some were short, while others stretched across many pages. It soon became clear that these letters had been written over many years. Lisa had spent a long time putting her thoughts onto paper. Page after page revealed memories, emotions, and experiences she had never fully shared in public. The deeper her children read, the more surprised they became. It felt as though they were meeting a side of their mother they had never truly known. The letters explained why she had kept so much of her life private. The world knew her name, her family history, and many details about her public life. Yet there were parts of her heart that remained hidden. She described how difficult it could be to live under constant attention. Even simple moments often became public stories. As the letters continued, another truth began to appear. Lisa spoke about carrying one of the most famous family names in the world. From childhood, people connected her to her father, Elvis Presley. Everywhere she went, his legacy followed her. His achievements were celebrated across the world, and his memory remained powerful long after his passing. For many people, Lisa was always introduced as Elvis Presley's daughter. While she loved and respected her father, the letters revealed that this reality sometimes felt lonely. She understood why people were fascinated by her connection to him. At the same time, she often wished they could see her as her own person. She wanted her own voice, her own dreams, and her own story to matter as well. Her children continued turning the pages. The letters described memories from her childhood. Some were warm and joyful. Others carried sadness and uncertainty. Growing up in such an unusual environment brought challenges few people could understand. Expectations seemed to surround her from every direction. People constantly watched, judged, and compared. As they read further, private fears began appearing within the pages. These were worries she rarely discussed openly. She often felt pressure to protect her family's legacy, while also trying to create a life of her own. Balancing those responsibilities was not always easy. Some days felt heavier than others. Then came a letter that changed everything. The atmosphere in the room shifted as her children reached its contents. This letter felt different from the rest. It was more personal and emotional. Every sentence seemed carefully chosen. By the time they reached the middle of the page, they understood why. Lisa revealed that there were moments when she felt trapped between two worlds. One part of her wanted to honor the memory of her father and everything connected to him. Another part wanted the freedom to discover her own identity. She spent years trying to balance both responsibilities. Sometimes she succeeded, sometimes she struggled. The realization hit her children deeply. They had known many parts of their mother's life, but they had never fully understood the weight she carried every day. The burden was far greater than they had imagined. For the first time, they could see how much strength it took for her to keep moving forward. As they quietly reflected on the letter, another envelope appeared beneath the stack of pages. It immediately attracted attention. Unlike the others, it seemed intentionally separated from the rest. Curious and nervous, they carefully opened it. Inside was a list. The title instantly stood out. It was a collection of things Lisa wanted people to understand about her. The list was thoughtful, personal, and honest. With every line, her children realized something important. The vault was never created to protect money or valuables. It existed to preserve something far more meaningful. It was protecting the truth, the records that changed the family story. The final sentence on the list stayed in everyone's mind. The possibility of a secret protected for decades made the room feel different. Curiosity had now become impossible to ignore. Every person present wanted answers. Their attention quickly shifted to the next unopened box waiting nearby. The box looked similar to the others. Nothing about its appearance suggested that it held anything unusual. Yet after everything they had already discovered, nobody expected anything to be ordinary anymore. Lisa Marie Presley had clearly arranged every item with purpose. Each box seemed connected to a larger story that was slowly unfolding. As the lid was lifted, the family immediately noticed how full it was. Documents filled one section. Several notebooks rested beneath them. Stacks of photographs had been carefully organized into separate groups. Small handwritten notes were tucked between many of the items. It was obvious that Lisa had spent years collecting and preserving these records. One family member carefully picked up a photograph, then another. Soon, the table was covered with images from different periods of Lisa's life. Some photographs were familiar, but many had never been seen publicly. They showed private moments that had remained hidden from the world. Unlike the pictures that often appeared in magazines, these felt personal and genuine. The children studied each image closely. Some photographs included handwritten explanations on the back. Lisa had taken time to describe where they were taken and why the moments mattered. Her notes were brief but meaningful. They transformed simple photographs into pieces of a much larger story. As they continued looking through the collection, something unusual began to emerge. Several photographs captured meetings and events that had never been discussed publicly. There were gatherings that seemed important, yet little information existed about them. Some images showed conversations frozen in time. Others captured moments that appeared ordinary at first, but seemed significant once paired with Lisa's notes. The mystery grew deeper with every discovery. The children began arranging photographs beside letters and documents from earlier boxes. Slowly, connections started appearing. Events that once seemed unrelated suddenly fit together. Small details mentioned in letters matched people, and places shown in photographs. It felt as though hidden pieces of a puzzle were finally finding their place. For years, much of Lisa's life had been discussed by outsiders. Articles, television programs, and public speculation often tried to explain her decisions. Yet, the records inside the vault painted a different picture. The more her children read, the more they realized that many people had only seen part of the story. Lisa had carefully documented important events throughout her life. She preserved memories that she believed might one day matter. Some records explained situations that had been misunderstood publicly. Others revealed details that had never been shared at all. It became clear that she wanted future generations to understand the truth from her perspective. Many of her notes focused on context. She seemed concerned that certain moments could be judged unfairly if people only saw a part of the picture. Rather than leaving questions unanswered, she had quietly recorded details for those she loved. Her goal was not to defend herself. Instead, she wanted her family to understand what had really happened. The deeper they explored the box, the more emotional the experience became. Lisa's words revealed how much she cared about preserving family connections. She often found herself caught between private realities and public attention. While others focused on headlines, she focused on protecting the people she loved. Several documents highlighted her efforts to maintain relationships during difficult periods. These records showed conversations, memories, and moments of reconciliation that had never become public knowledge. The family realized that many assumptions people had made over the years were incomplete. Important parts of the story had remained hidden. The discovery changed how they viewed many events from the past. Situations that once seemed simple now appeared far more complicated. Lisa had worked quietly behind the scenes to keep family bonds strong. Much of that effort had gone unnoticed by the outside world. As the evening continued, the family carefully returned the photographs and records to the box. They felt overwhelmed by everything they had learned. Yet one question still remained. What was the secret she mentioned? While organizing the remaining contents, someone noticed an object resting at the very bottom of the box. Hidden beneath papers and photographs was a journal unlike anything they had seen so far. It immediately stood out. The journal was locked. Everyone gathered around as it was carefully lifted from the box. The cover showed signs of age, suggesting it had been kept for many years. Then they noticed something attached to the front. A small note had been taped to the cover. The message was simple: yet it instantly captured everyone's attention. It instructed them not to read the journal until everything else had been finished. The room fell silent once again. Nobody knew what was inside. Nobody knew why Lisa wanted it saved for later. Yet one thing was certain. From that moment forward, nobody could stop thinking about the secrets hidden behind that lock, the dreams she never achieved. The locked journal remained on everyone's mind, but Lisa's instructions were clear. They were not supposed to open it yet. As difficult as it was, her children decided to respect her wishes. There were still unopened boxes waiting nearby. Somewhere inside them, they hoped to find the answers that would eventually lead them to the journal. The next box looked thinner than the others. It was filled with folders, papers, and carefully organized notes. At first glance, the contents seemed less mysterious than the photographs and records they had already discovered. However, the moment they began reading, they realized these papers revealed a completely different side of Lisa Marie Presley. Many of the documents contained plans she had been working on privately. Some were simple ideas written on loose sheets of paper. Others were detailed projects with notes attached to them. Certain pages showed outlines and goals she hoped to complete in the future. It quickly became clear that she had been planning far more than anyone realized. The discovery surprised her children. The world often focused on Lisa's past and her connection to the Presley family legacy. Yet these papers showed a woman who was still looking ahead. She was still making plans. She was still thinking about what she wanted to accomplish. Instead of dwelling on old memories, she was building ideas for the future. As they continued searching through the box, they found letters that had never been sent. Some described hopes she had for her family. Others focused on dreams she wanted to share later in life. Reading them felt like listening to conversations that had been paused before they could be finished. The letters carried warmth and optimism. Even when discussing challenges, Lisa's words reflected determination. She seemed focused on creating something meaningful for the people she loved. Her children could feel that sense of purpose in every page they read. Another folder revealed personal goals she had written down for herself. Some were small and practical, others were deeply personal. Together, they painted a picture of someone who still believed there was time ahead of her. She had not stopped dreaming. She had not stopped planning. She was still moving forward. As the hours passed, one theme began appearing again and again. Nearly every project included references to her children and future generations. Sometimes the connection was direct, other times it appeared through handwritten notes in the margins. She frequently reminded herself to protect, support, and encourage the people she cared about most. Her family remained at the center of her thinking. This realization touched everyone in the room. Many of the plans were not focused on personal success. Instead, they reflected her desire to leave something positive behind. She wanted future generations to benefit from the lessons she had learned. She wanted her children to feel supported, even after she was gone. Her thoughts constantly returned to them. The deeper they explored the collection, the more emotional the experience became. Lisa's dreams were no longer just ideas on paper. They represented hopes she genuinely believed she would have the opportunity to complete. Each unfinished project carried the promise of a future she expected to reach. Then came the most heartbreaking discovery of all. Near the bottom of the box rested a letter that appeared unfinished. Unlike the others, it stopped suddenly. The family immediately noticed that certain thoughts remained incomplete. The letter contained things Lisa still wanted to explain. Some sentences seemed to lead toward deeper reflections. Others hinted at conversations she planned to have one day. But that day never came. The realization settled heavily over the room. As they read the unfinished pages, they understood something painful. Lisa had believed there would be more time. She expected another opportunity to share these thoughts herself. She expected future conversations that never happened. For several moments, nobody spoke. The unfinished letter felt different from everything else they had discovered. It was not just a document. It was a reminder of plans interrupted and words left unsaid. The silence that followed was filled with emotion. Eventually, they returned the letter to its place and continued examining the remaining contents. Most of the storage case had already been emptied. They believed there was nothing left to find. Then someone noticed a small object hidden beneath the final layer of papers. Carefully reaching inside, they pulled it free. It was a key. The discovery instantly captured everyone's attention. Attached to the key was a small tag. The message written on it was short but impossible to ignore. It claimed that the key opened the last truth. The journal. The key sat quietly on the table, yet it seemed more important than anything else they had discovered. After hours of searching through letters, photographs, records, and unfinished plans, the family had finally reached the moment they had been anticipating. Somewhere nearby rested the locked journal Lisa Marie Presley had instructed them not to open until everything else was finished. Now that time has finally come. The journal was carefully placed in front of them. Nobody spoke at first. The warning attached to it still lingered in everyone's mind. Whatever was hidden inside had been protected longer than anything else in the vault. The question was no longer how to open it. The question was whether they should. A quiet debate followed. Some worried that the journal contained thoughts Lisa never intended anyone to read. Others believed she had left it behind for a reason. After everything they had already discovered, one thing seemed clear. Lisa had organized every part of the vault with great care. Nothing had been placed there by accident. Eventually, they made their decision. With trembling hands, the key was inserted into the lock. A soft click echoed through the room. The journal was finally open. The first pages immediately felt different from the letters they had already read. These were not messages prepared for others. They were private reflections written during deeply personal moments. Every page revealed thoughts that Lisa had kept hidden from public view. The deeper her children read, the more they realized how much she had carried within her heart. Some entries focused on regret. She reflected on decisions she wished had gone differently. Other pages spoke about forgiveness. There were moments when she struggled to let go of pain, but there were also moments when she found peace. The journal showed a woman constantly trying to learn, grow, and move forward. As they continued reading, personal battles appeared throughout the pages. Lisa described difficult periods that challenged her strength. She wrote honestly about loss, disappointment, and the pressure that often followed her throughout life. Yet, alongside those struggles, there was also resilience. Again and again, she found ways to keep going. Family concerns appeared often. Many entries focused on the people she loved most. Her children were never far from her thoughts. She worried about their future, their happiness, and their ability to navigate a world that often seemed complicated and demanding. Even during her hardest moments, her concern for them remained constant. The journal also revealed lessons she had learned over the years. Fame brought opportunities, but it also created challenges. Loss taught her painful truths about life. Survival required strength she never expected to need. Through every experience, she continued searching for meaning and understanding. Then came the discovery that changed everything. The reality described inside the journal was completely different from the image many people believed they knew. There were no dramatic celebrity stories. There were no shocking tales of fame and fortune. Instead, the pages revealed something much more powerful. They revealed a human being. Her children suddenly saw their mother in a new way. Not as a public figure, not as part of a famous family, not as a name recognized around the world. They saw a mother doing her best through circumstances that were often difficult and painful. Near the end of the journal, they found a final section. Its title immediately captured their attention. The pages that followed contained Lisa's deepest hopes for how she would be remembered. The words were simple, honest, and filled with love. As her children read them, emotions filled the room. Tears appeared as they finally understood the heart behind everything she had left behind. Then, as they carefully closed the journal, they noticed something hidden inside, a sealed envelope. It had been tucked between the final pages. Across the front was a short instruction: open last. The room became silent once again. Nobody knew why Lisa had saved it for the very end, but everyone understood that the biggest revelation was still waiting. The final message. The family gathered one last time in the quiet room where everything had begun. The air felt different now, heavier but calmer, as if the truth had already started to settle around them. The journal still lay open nearby, and the sealed envelope marked for the final moment was placed carefully in the center of the table. Everyone knew this was the last step. No one rushed. There was a long silence before the envelope was finally opened. The paper inside looked simple, but it carried a weight that everyone could feel. This was Lisa Marie Presley's final message to her children, prepared long before this moment ever arrived. It was the piece she had saved for the end, the part meant to complete everything they had discovered. As they began reading, the room changed again. The message did not bring shock or scandal. It did not reveal anything dramatic or destructive. Instead, it carried something deeper and more meaningful. Lisa explained that she had spent many years creating the vault not to hide secrets, but to protect her true self from being misunderstood. She expressed a quiet fear that history would not remember her the way she truly was. She knew the world often creates its own version of public figures. Stories grow, change, and sometimes lose the truth behind them. She wanted to make sure that her children would never only know the public image of her life, she wanted them to know her heart. As the words were read, emotions filled the room. Her children slowly began to understand the purpose behind everything they had seen. Every letter, every photograph, every journal entry was not just a memory. It was a message carefully left behind so they could understand her fully, without confusion or distance. Questions that had remained for years now began to find answers. Moments that once felt unclear suddenly made sense. Painful misunderstandings softened into understanding. The vault was no longer just a collection of hidden items. It had become a bridge between a mother and her children. Lisa's voice, preserved through her writings, felt present in the room. Even though she was gone, her thoughts, her emotions, and her love were still reaching them. It felt like she had been speaking to them all along, guiding them gently through every layer of discovery. The final pages carried a simple but powerful truth. She had not built the vault for fame or attention. She had not created it to protect wealth or mystery. She had built it because she wanted her children to know who she really was, beyond everything the world had ever said about her. As the last page was turned, a deep silence filled the room. Everything suddenly felt clear. The vault was never about hidden treasures. It was never about secrets waiting to be exposed. It was never about the weight of fame or legacy. It was about a mother leaving behind her truth, a truth meant for the people she loved most. Slowly, the vault door was closed one final time. The sound echoed softly, marking the end of a long journey. But nothing about the story felt finished, because what was inside the vault could never be locked away again. The children stepped outside carrying something far greater than anything they had expected to find. Not wealth, but understanding. A completely new view of their mother, Lisa Marie Presley, now seen clearly through her own words. And with that understanding, everything in their hearts changed forever.